gently going down the stream. Hope it's an open path. I told you stars are water and we're taking holy baths. Shit, I get that's only laughs. Nobody takes it serious until they see me and my soul group create a pyramid. The beat to the drum to your ear, they still ain't hearing it. We spirits in a big ass space and we just sharing it for now. And we ain't got no time to go and lounge if you down. Need to take this time and go and smile. Need a girl to hold me down, but on the same mind state. That might be impossible, still I give it a try, man. Heart's getting cut and it's not space. You lost in a light, pilot man can supply shade. Namaste, yeah. I got overall clearance. I'ma tell you right now, it's that overall experience. Rocket talking, look up in the sky, see a helicopter chocolate. This feeling that I feel, yes, it's really getting real. Making buildings when we deal. Trust me, I am not gonna stop it. Rocket talking, look up in the sky, see a helicopter chocolate. This feeling that I feel, yes, it's really getting real. Making buildings when we build. Trust me, I am not gonna stop it. I'm just seeing how the gang go. Swimming in the esoteric rainbow. Sky high, but sometimes you gotta lay low and sit back and just learn how to say no. Time's getting sketchy and people as well. On your way to heaven, gotta leave them in hell. Taking all that shit with you ain't gonna do you no good. You should be planning on that day that you can move out the hood. I've been looking for somebody in the sky too. Feeling like a wet star, I'm trying to find you. Cranberries and lemons is my juice. Like the sour and I know it, this is my truth, yeah. Oh, it's the Pilotman. I'll be so high, I don't know if I can land. Fuck a 3D, you never gon' see me. Knee deep in the spirit triangular TP. That's a lie. Rocket talking, lights look up in the sky, see a helicopter chocolate. This feeling that I feel, yes, it's really getting real. Making buildings when we build. Trust me, I am not gonna stop it. Rocket talking, look up in the sky, see a helicopter chocolate. This feeling that I feel, yes, it's really getting real. Making buildings when we build. Trust me, I am not gonna stop it.
Hey, I'm gonna put on that bitch. You know what I'm saying? Now look, check this out. We're gonna talk about some real history, but we're gonna just talk about some spiritual shit in general and get into the concept of the new moon right now. But just being up under that concept for you to understand true history. So you don't even have to like sit around and always have to like think somebody else is important all the time and stuff like that. Cause you know, there's like a big form of narcissism going on in the world. And like a lot of people gotta understand like certain things ain't important. Certain things lead to degeneracy, which it adds a lot of nuance what we get ready to talk about right now, shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Where it's like anything we talk about now just leads to the same kind of concept: degeneracy, retardation, mental illness, mental asylum, straight jacket. You know what I'm saying? And that should have been the first industries we picked up and stuff. But for the most part, I'm just help you understand basically where I'm at right now, and goddamn it, where I always float around. Sometimes I float over there more east than I float here. I'm always in the northwest, northeast, central, east coast part of goddamn it these lands and stuff like that. So I'm the goddamn lord of the Great Lakes. So don't ever get that fucked up. You know what I'm saying? Real shit. I got 1,000 statues. They didn't even know that was me. You know what I'm saying? They didn't know they was dealing with me. I was that spirit in the statue. You know what I'm saying? I was that spirit in whatever dudes you was dealing with over here in Ohio. I'll tell you that right now. You know what I'm saying? All the way to South Carolina too. You know, whoever spirits that was dealing with my grandmother and stuff like that, y'all was dealing with them. You know what I'm saying? But my mother's spirit and my spirit, y'all dealt with us here. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna tell you that right now. They were just circulating this pocket. I don't even know how to go nowhere else. I just be looking for my bones and stuff like that. But I want to, you know what I'm saying, talk about my city I established. You know what I'm saying? City I established, or whatever the case may be. So y'all don't get flunked out. So when I tell y'all, if you in this area, right? So right now that'll be this area. Well, you can do your own goddamn. I don't really have to because we online. So people, that's just like giving a whole rundown and stuff like that. But everybody know what's the northeast, south part of goddamn it, Ohio, and then on the side of it, the western part of Pennsylvania. That was one thing really. The whole Pennsylvania, Ohio, Illinois, Indiana, Detroit, all that was one thing. Mississippi, all that was one. That's when we get into Cahokia. But we have little cities and villages within it and stuff. That's just the main downtown. But how we're building from the riverfront. So we built up from the riverfront. So if you're looking at things and the water from like a street or a city limit, you're already seeing, you're in the matrix. You're not seeing the world beyond the numbers. So you only see the numbers coming down. So this gets into address. I mean, we have village to name titles and stuff, but it get deep, how deep the matrix go that y'all don't understand that we helped them establish over here because we did it with the land. For an example, the trees is the walls. So we'll make big trees and stuff like that, and a whole tree can become a wigwam. What you think a wigwam is, we can make a tree grow like that. I'm gonna show y'all all these places. I got them in a lot of my music videos, but it started raining today. It started going on and off. So I'm like, man, I ain't got time for this, especially mosquitoes and shit. You know what I'm saying? But and it's all muggy, and I don't know if when it's gonna stop raining or not. So we're gonna do that tomorrow. And I'm gonna take y'all through and show y'all how you make households out of trees. It's an actual tree house. So the branches grow out and cover over, and it's almost like a mansion size. And then you can build within it and stuff like that. So we got a lot of those too. Here's the thing. When it comes to Ohio, especially where I'm at, Mënehokink, you know what I'm saying? So that's Youngstown, Cleveland, Dayton, Canton, well, nah, Canton a little bit more over or whatever case may be. Goddamn Newcastle, where a lot of the Moravian initiatives came. Like we got, like one thing you got to understand is East Coast Native Americans got psyoped before West Coast. You know what I'm saying? But it was still around the same time. What you call that 17th, whatever it was, the 1800s. By the time we get to like the 1850s, they all up over there, gold rush and everything of that nature, Pluto. But leading up to that, they're moving us westward. And then anybody who ain't establishing that or whatever the case may be, when we done fighting and stuff, they leave it up to you to establish a government. But if you already like crippled and you ain't getting funded by no big powers or anything of that nature, you're not in some system that they get ready to make more important on our land when they bringing more foreigners over, such as themselves. So it's almost like we don't even have a building or a template for us to even keep our records. So it's almost like since we fought, we don't deserve to be in the system. And if we want to be in a system, we got to accept being 1.3.4 of a human. So it's like that kind of shit where you get pride because this your land first. So you like, man, well, fuck all that shit. You know what I'm saying? But but getting y'all the understanding of when you're going over hills and stuff like that, you're going over Native American mounds and houses and wigwams and longhouses and stuff. So you have to understand it's what we doing. So you don't get confused, because a lot of times y'all might listen to people online and then they constantly want to talk about the last colonized tribes. So that'd be, oh, Chickasaw, Cherokee, but that ain't no actual DNA. I got people that's Cherokee, but they know the name and the actual tribe, and to know that the Cherokee lead to a white man or whoever wanted to be the coon and said, we're the Cherokees now because we're getting funded by the royal crown or whatever the case may be. So you get that CNR put in it. And then for the same way how the Haudenosaunee started to get, but see, this is, it's bands of tribes. Haudenosaunee is this a term for like what we do. See what I'm saying? So Haudenosaunee what it means itself is, it's like an idea. So when you put the words together, Had, that's something that's premeditated. Do, that want now, once you go O, that's going to the west from something starting on the east, and it was on the east coast. Shoon, right? S, that's the side, that's into the night. So something starting in the day into the night. So that could be something shooting from one place to another, or horizon, or roofing. Shoon, neat. The neat is something that's outside of us. That could be a container, but it ain't not, it's neat. So that's it on the ground. So what roofs us above can roof us beneath, and things of that nature. So that's what that'd be an idea. Then when we actually practice that, we'll make something like a longhouse. So you see what I'm saying? So Haudenosaunee don't actually mean people at a longhouse. That's somebody describing them. But it was just the Mohawks, a little bit of Mohicans, a couple of Shawnees even was going into that though. But the Adonanega, Odenaga, my bad, and shit like that. Seneca. So all of those was coming together and stuff like that based upon being more on the East Coast and moving the Lenape Confederation more westward. So remind you, it's the same concept. Lenape is the term with all the Native Americans who was resisting doing, not Lenape being a specific. So when y'all get online and y'all start seeing a lot of these names, you could tell when people ain't native, they start bastardizing stuff, or their concept about it is wrong, or they start with white man templates. So that's how you know that's either a fed or somebody who got a dumb immediate family. Somebody like with Candace Owens or somebody say something stupid like my great great grandmother or whatever the case may be, as if your great great grandmother ain't had no kids. What would have been your grandmother or your grandfather, and they had kids, which would have been your mother or your father. So where did you change between then? That means you never was that. You more of a percentage scale of something else. And you probably ain't native at all. It don't even got no 2%. And so 3-4 grandmothers down the line don't count if you some new mixed mutant right now. That don't even make no sense. Anybody from anything, like if an Asian person have a kid with someone else and they got more Asian in the blood, they're Asian first than whatever that is. Ain't no new human. There ain't no such thing as new human. I never seen two things come together and make a new human, except for goddamn Washi Shoe. Other than that, and we still trying to figure out how we did that. But other than that, I ain't never seen two races come together and make a new race. I ain't never seen that. I just seen mixed people. And then we go through a washing machine cycle. I ain't never seen in existence. Unless you indigenous, you come out the water. Other than that, when you start fucking, everybody just mix. But ain't no such thing as not knowing who you is unless you come from some different type of concept and you destroy everybody and then make some DNA type of thing that we need after the fact. But that's beside it. You know what I'm saying? So people be getting lost as hell and shit like that and be say some dumb shit. What she say? She said some dumb shit like, I wish I knew my 2-3 grandmothers ago. So what you mean? So what you trying to say? Your grandmother was dumb? Somehow, some way, your grandmother didn't know her mother? Your grandmother didn't know her mother or her father? Because that's how y'all sound. That's how you know it's a fed or even if somebody utilizing, they got dumb immediate families because they just reading books. They just doing it as a joke. I don't know why they always using celebrities to do that also. Us natives don't join no politic. We don't join no government circumstance. We too busy trying to create our own. What the fuck? So you got the wrong spirit already accepting some shit. A lot of y'all be white boys and white women. You know what I'm saying? What's homegirl name? She was once a Disney child or something like that. They tried to make her. What's her name? She had all that pound of Kiki. Is that her name? Kiki something. Skinny girl. All that makeup she had on her face and shit like that. I know. White people, white woman, or whoever her handler, like we got her looking just right, like Mrs. Doubtfire or whatever. Yeah, Kiki Palmer. Yeah, they got her a white woman. She sound like a white woman, look like a white woman. Now here's the thing, I ain't got. Y'all know I ain't racist or none of that thing. So if I want a white woman, I want a white woman. I don't want no other thing that just somewhere looking like that. Y'all said she look like a creature. Where's your people? Where's your culture? Where's your family? Like y'all, it's like everybody just sold up into some type of witchcraft, and white people just make y'all voodoo dolls. So she look like a white woman, like she like Oprah out. You know what I'm saying? All that makeup and shit like that, and how she talking? Hi, I am a man, and I just like it sound like a ventriloquist, but a white woman behind it. You know what I'm saying? It's something that's tired of being a feminist or something. You know what I'm saying? Or trying to be in a Democrat or something like that. So it's like that's what it sounds like. It's just you can tell like what is this? What is this? Well, I'm foreigner. Oh, put her in that. Fool. Oh, put her in that. I see why you ain't got in the man. You know what I'm saying? Everything you see, you got in the white man life and then white woman life. So you're gone distant from your land, don't know who you are, and did a whole bunch of shit that didn't matter at the end. And you ain't even die yet, and shit don't fulfill you. The money don't fulfill you. The big old house don't fulfill you. You on somebody else's land and don't even know who land you on. So you ain't even got the spirit either. Damn fool! Oh, Sarah, you're born. So you can best believe my dick will never be swinging in your face. I'm going to tell you that right now, bitch. My dick will never be swinging in your face, bitch, unless you trying to get down to a tribe to build Adina again. You ain't trying to build Adina again. I'm cool with I'm saying peaches and strawberries and cream. Oh, that. The hell what you got in your damn purse that like a whole bunch of white boys. I'm saying real shit. There ain't nothing wrong with white boys. There ain't nothing wrong with white woman. And that's the problem. If I wanted the white woman, I want the white woman, not no Kiki. Like, oh, what, Kiki, he, goddamn hyena gorilla face. Oh, look at that. Goddamn monkey will make out. Real shit. You know why I'm putting that out. But yeah, peep game. You know what I'm saying? Is oh yeah, my hands was wet. You know what I'm saying? Once you touch this, you touch the L. That's it. You might not even be able to light it. Throw it away. You know, so I throw it somewhere. Every time I'm in the rain or whatever like that, I can have a whole button and a little raindrop get on it. Throw that bitch. Throw that bitch. She ain't about to light. I don't give a fuck about it drying. You know what I'm saying? Real shit. Let the earth spirits get it and shit like that. Grandma wanted it. You know what I'm saying? Remember I used to bring grandma back before. Grandma wanted it. You know what I'm saying? Because you're like, you still hit like a bitch. You know what I'm saying? Real shit with grandma, you smoke it then. You know what I'm saying? Real shit. When the day heat up or whatever the case may be and you done taking a motherfucking bath, you smoke it then. Oh, like get your peace pipe, bitch. Get your peace pipe. Get your peace pipe. You know what I'm saying? But other than that, yay. Now, get into the circumstance because, look, check this out. Now, you're just driving on streets and roads. The streets and roads is just outskirts. So what happens is we're building things from the riverfront. So when y'all got to look down from the bridges or whatever the case may be, you know, you in the matrix. When you in the city a little bit, you in the matrix. Here's the thing. It's different in your mind because once you reach the city limits, the only thing different is the streets, right? But at the same time, it's outlining the way how the buildings and stuff and the neighborhoods is still outlined in the way we doing it. So the areas where the main chiefs was at, like especially like in the middle, like a Hoka or something like that, that's the only thing they keep vacant because it probably got something to do with even burial grounds and shit that they was doing other stuff to stop us from doing. But at the same time, your city and state is still outlined in the same way we had it, just replaced. It was still houses. They got that concept from us. So don't think white man had jailhouses. The jail buildings. That's how they came over here and flooded, moved everybody out, and built New York to make it look like England, and made mistakes. It was like, oh yeah, okay, that was a good idea that the natives did. Let's just go ahead and do that. I want a house in space again. So then we start getting houses again. But that's what it was. TPs ain't shit. Them the little places in the middle of war grounds or peace grounds or shit like that. That's just when they start treating us like animals and putting us in areas in the late 1800s. So you got to keep that in mind too. You'll watch a cowboy and Indian movie and even think the Great Plains was, no, they had big old pit playboat structures and shit like that and mounds and wigwams and shit like that. Big as hell shit. Don't get y'all, the TP shit is way after the line, the 1860s and shit. Once Native Americans about downsized a few 100,000. You know what I'm saying? So don't get that fucked up. They made us live in the TP, aka something we just use as a war between grounds. You gotta understand the nuance. You know what I'm saying? A lot of the shit we built, they never took it away. They just moved in it. Like the cabins, the forts, that was our shit. That was our peace treaty spots. If you get lost in history, they'll make you think that that's their shit. Like somebody had sit around and allowed them to build it that long and shit like that. Ben got hit upside the head by a Susquehanna. So this is team effort shit. Don't ever get that fucked up. And they came over here in the new world. It's almost like if you watching these be plagiarized Disney versions of it. We done sued Disney a lot. Avatar or if you watching a certain part in Star Wars where they try to make you think this represent UK or something like that. No, it represent when they was coming over here and shit like that and all the areas and shit. And then the walls be the trees and the bushes, how we make out shit like you'll be walking into like a whole monastery we made out of nature though. Which we still doing the same thing. We just got the synthetic one that ain't worth about shit and someone milking it with all the money and shit. You know what I'm saying? But our shit forever lasting. Shit, hundreds and hundreds of years, you still see our shit. Bent trees, bent structures, everything. And you don't even see a house that the white boy brought over here that they done made with synthetic version concepts or building shit. Just like all the way down to the Twin Towers. Shit will be up one decade, going the next. No goddamn shit can sustain itself, whether we more numbers or not. Our spirit, that's fucking strong. You know what I'm saying? Now, when we get into Kuskusky, this means the land that moves like water. Kuskusky means the land that moves like water. So we also used to create floating villages and shit like that, where a village on a water landmass, during certain seasons, it actually moves and transition from east to west and stuff like that. So we'll call that, and we created floating gardens and shit like that. You might think I'm bullshit. No, we really, and I can show y'all how to actually build. We ain't built enough from the river no more. But pardon me, when I take y'all through the walkthroughs and the trade routes and stuff, and where the spots and the living areas and stuff like that, I'm gonna show y'all how that was possible, based upon how the nature have changed. So the habitat have changed, and it's conducted around things now to the point that you can't even drink or be in the water. How many dead Native Americans they put in it, and make y'all think it got something to do with something else. Well, yeah, after a while, oil and poison and shit. But the original reason of we got to filter out the water is because we ain't got nowhere to put these Native Americans, and then eventually a lot of freedmans that start to take our side that they was bringing over here in the 1700s. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't want y'all to get that messed up either. Freedmans didn't start coming over here into the well, I would say leading up to the late 1700s. So starting in the 1700s, early mid 1700s, and then to the late. So when you get to like 1770s or whatever the case may be, they brought enough Asians and freedmans over here to hit us upside our head for help and get us out the way for their little wars and establishments and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? So we can't be fighting over land with some spiritual morality concept. You know what I'm saying? So you gotta look at it like that. So a lot of times, even let's say if you are you could be a free man, Asian, or whatever the case may be, try to do your real history too, though, because you don't want to sound like you're saying anything, because things lead to your immediate family. So if your immediate family confused, 9 times out of 10, you come from confusion. So that means later on down the line, right? Because if you're not an actual soldier and shit like that, like I even show you shit, even from old pictures well, I ain't got them, but I gotta go get them from family houses and stuff though. But even back, here's the thing, you can't be a foreigner and really start to say your great grandmother, or whatever like that, because really those 1700s, those 1700, for an example, what my dad mixed with and shit is that's later. That's and so he got that like some army shit. You know what I'm saying? So that's like 18. That's like whatever his family is later, like 1900s or whatever the case may be. This cat don't even remember nothing past his father or his mother. You know what I'm saying? You just joined the army and shit like that. So when you get to those Buffalo Soldiers in the 1900s, in the 1700s and things of that nature, they wasn't doing no mixing like that. No, not even with white people and stuff like that. No, they wasn't doing all that. So it'd be hard for a lot of people in today's time, depending on your percentage scale, to sit here and say you got a great grandmother that was part of some Buffalo Soldiers or some goddamn shit, things of that nature. Nah. You might got somebody who joined the army that just came over here in the early 1900s or late 1800s. That's the only time they was allowing the natives to try to be a symbol with everybody else and stop treating us like animals, and then help the Navajo reservation, really just a whole bunch of natives that they mixed together, then try to confuse them with a bunch of Spanglers and stuff like that. But Native Americans wasn't even allowed to even be in no government or whatever the case may be until the late 1800s. And that's when we start mixing again. So the early mixing, right, them people done died. For an example, look, I am more Native, but that's because my immediate family. There is no such thing as saying I can tie a specific family member to 1700s. Even Native Americans know that. It's about DNA. No Native American is sitting here saying, no, they can find a specific great grandmother just like everybody else. A white person can't do that. And the only ones who like to do it a little bit is the ones that's in cults right now. And then it get blurry for them because they so mixed. So here's where you get this concept. Obama is the Bush's cousins, and then the Bushes is the Clinton's cousins. And you see what I'm saying? It get foggy for everybody. So y'all got to understand, you don't disappear. You still here. Just because like they confused everything with language and shit, like makes y'all so try to create new shit with nationality terms. That don't got nationality is just what people calling people. It ain't got nothing to do with just the people themselves. For an example, y'all would take the talking point of even Africa from the white man. Let Africa speak for Africa. Africa, people from India, Arabs, Negro child, y'all should be doing what I'm doing. For an example, right? If I say I live in Ohio, right, and Youngstown, right? Then for the most part, you should know what that means. Like I know what that means. Young is a Jesuit that bought a lot of this area after the fact, and Ohio, right, is what SACHEM from the Seneca called it, being coons for the British that separated it and then called their half Pennsylvania, right? But what we called it in general was the river line, Mënehokink. So you see how they plagiarized it with French and British, and now it's Mahoney. But you see how English is Pinging language. Mahoney River is Mënehokink. You know what I'm saying? And then for the most part, so you got me telling you what it's called, and then you can even get on Google and it take you to the same place as Mahoney River, Mënehokink. So it should be somebody in India that should be able to be like, yeah, we ain't Indians and whatever. We called it this. And when they get on Google, it goes straight to their shit. Should be somebody in Africa, whoever claimed they somebody, or everybody going to hell. Like, I don't get it. You're like, it's Brother Connett Man. So you know what I'm saying? Once that I, the R, the Q, once these letters get in there and y'all not no spiritual main player who really cared about your land and your people, so you the one that was more involved in the language, how everybody blending in together. You at a time right now where you so spiritually lost and your lineage and shit like that, you don't even know where to start. And 9 times out of 10, you're going to start with white boy. So that's your first template, your first memory card. You know what I'm saying? You're going to think like a white boy. You're going to think like a white woman. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, ain't nothing wrong with that. When it's from them. You know what I'm saying? Real shit. Just like if I'm cool with a white boy, I'm cool with a lot of white boys. And we riding somewhere and things of that nature, you got to look like a white boy, though. You can't be having no damn football team, basketball team, fitted caps and all this. No. So if we in the middle of winter time, you have a big old coat and basketball shorts and open-toe John Cleton sandals and stuff, then you better act like what you supposed to look like now. I'm saying real shit. I said we all stay safe and out of jail. And other than that, man, I said, but shit, that's the way it's supposed to be in this bitch. I don't know where all this other weirdo shit be coming from and shit. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, right, when we get into, all right, let's break down the establishment as a whole, right? So this is Kuskusky, the land that moves on water. Now, at this time, this was a collection of tribes. Now, during this particular time, we was already getting pushed westward, right? So this is how the heavy Lenape influence become here. Now, let's put this in context. You got Wolf Clan. There's like, we already made a Planeton, right? And the Planetcon is getting killed and slaughtered or manipulated because they're not trying to be a symbol. So you got to know, at these times, before we're calling it Christianity, we got a culture and they got a culture, but their culture is colonizing, right? So, based upon power and force, and coming up with property money and coming up with synthetic versions of it. So you need to know this was their concept of a law. So if you want to assemble, you have to do the things that they're doing. So we wasn't trying to do that chattel slavery shit. Well, this before that chattel slavery shit, but that helped y'all get y'all into concepts too. The civilized tribes. These was people who was assimilating, and slavery was a law. Just like how y'all got a law right now, like alcohol law, whatever the case may be, that was a law. The Native Americans didn't want to do that. They didn't want to accept being part of a nation in cahoots with a Jesuit. So you end up being civilized, controlling other native bands and being the police. So this is what's Chickasaw, Cherokee, and that's a lot of other Chippewa all the way to the West Coast. I don't know why y'all just get lost into the later ones. You know what I'm saying? But for the most part, they force you, and then once the Native Americans just look at it like you don't want to do that and shit, you start saving refugees and shit like that. Or wouldn't be no such thing as like Lumbee, Tuscarora, Seminoles, and shit like that. So this is not a new race of people. It's just people who was certain freedmans and certain people who was getting mixed with Native Americans because we didn't want to do the chattel slavery. So we was moving more southern and more free lands, so that they started exercising more racism in more southern lands and stuff like that based upon resisting that form of government. They had just a whole bunch of, beyond that alone, it was just a whole bunch of fucked up ways of government. ways of dealing with the land, to own it in this kind of way, to make things unfair. It's beyond that. So y'all have to understand, a lot of times shit ain't even been on racism. That came later on down in this 1960. A lot of times it's you fight for something. If you lose, you lose. You had the right spirit behind you. At one time, it was just like that. Because we kind of did that amongst each other as tribes. We ain't did no negative shit like them. But it's like, if you know how to handle the land better. We don't make people hungry though, because it's our people. We do the circumstance and they do it with us the more right way. Even if there's an accident, we replacing each other. You get married into our family, or we just intermix with your. You see what I'm saying? It ain't the way they brought it over here. It's all negative. Like, I don't know why this is negative. This is negative. You know what I'm saying? So it becomes a concept at these times that birth the seed of when you done something negative. In order to look good or to justify what you have done like it was right, you have to make somebody else look bad, especially the person you did it to. You know what I'm saying? So that's where that early seeds came from. So a lot of times there's a lot of books established on that seed that a lot of people that's not even the main star players that join the government and stuff, or in certain cults that, you know, they're just doing what they're doing, not knowing no better, and some having grace, or some do know what they're doing, that it's steered in another direction, but it still comes from whatever that they're doing was still made on this instant. So for something else to work, it comes with erasing Native American history or plagiarizing our shit and shit like, you see what I'm saying? Even when they don't mean to. They can be focused on somebody else or focus on freemans or some shit like that. But just their whole rhetoric itself that they have to use, their forefathers, the nasty and didn't wash their ancestors, created the template where they was in a negative energy that they never was in accountability at that time without even caring to have it. So even people who trying to have accountability, it'd be like some situation we getting right now. You'll get a whole bunch of people trying to play victim. It's still a psyop. So you'll get a whole bunch of people saying, well, people in England were slaved out and stuff like that. They're doing the same thing and stuff like that. But you don't get to be in that position. That's why I be saying everybody ain't allowed to be in the conversation. You can't be in that position if you're still the descendants of these people you're claiming got slaughtered, but you're allowed to reap the benefits, but nobody else descendants can. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't be like on one end, well, we got slaughtered too from our people, but your people is funding you today from the slaughtering of everybody else to get it done. Just like how the Mayflower came over here and stuff, like they're doing now and call themselves Israel. It's just use your military to move people out, and then you come in. Gentrification. That's basically what it is. It ain't nothing else. So they did that to every little city we had. Now Kuskusky, this the land of the waters that move. The land that moves like water. So it's the trade route area. And then we built all the way until we reach a center downtown. And then that be the center spot. And then for the most part, it spreads out. And then we start to create a planeton, which I would consider a planet. But we're doing that as above, so below. That all of our covenant chain and tribal bands, and we try to make 7 of them. So if we all hold hands and make the circle, we cover that whole land too. But the land itself, just our energy circling that pocket, like how I circled New Jersey and stuff like that. The pocket itself represent as above when that sun is in that pocket. So we're in the Britain came over and start calling Mercury. But we as a whole, all those bands together, the Mingo, the Way tribe, Mohican, Shawnee, Huron, would have had a lot of Wyandots and stuff like that. A lot of Susquehanna, a lot of Seneca and things. Miami, those tribes, which y'all think is Miami, but that's somebody plagiarizing it. It's really Miami. You know what I'm saying? And all the tribes coming together and shit like that. ERIE. And then when you get a little bit more, you get the Illinois tribes and things of that nature, and then that'd be the next planet over before we get to Jupiter. So we connect planets, have a conjunction, and then extend. And this is how families get big, and then you cross a whole continent, and everybody know each other type shit. And you're gonna know about something from the East Coast to the West Coast, all the way down to the Central America and Southern America. You're gonna know about something from up top, from up left to up right to all around. And you're gonna have an uncle or auntie or something like that know. So you don't even really need to write nothing down when we at them times and shit like that. But now they force us to be in that position. But just mingling with them a lot of times created a COON version that a lot of Native Americans didn't want to accept in the first place. You know, so when you get in different languages being spoke, no, that's us dealing with different invaders, different pirates. You know what I'm saying? Let's make this simple. They never stop what they doing. It's just more in a watered down way because there's not a lot of main players here. So let's take it into what they doing in Mënehokink. Now they already moved us out. I mean, they a lot of us came back. So, you know, New York City probably got like close to 1 million Native Americans there. But for the most part, here's the thing. Y'all, the foreigners is more flooded. So when you see the pirate Adam 22 come to an area to see what it looked like, in their mind, they like, let's see what I could do with this. At the original time, if the main star player was here. Now it's the watered down version that we only doing it with the mind. It's showing you that Britaconda man and the Crown got their eyes on this area. Now, y'all are a watered down version of what us Native American tribes would have been. And not naming it as a whole confederation, putting y'all all in one box. So whatever your gang is would have been that specific tribe that if 100 years went down the line and y'all don't know yourselves, y'all would have been called one thing by a governor, aka a Jesuit playing a president, and it would have been all y'all tribes. Now, to create $5 Indian 100 years later, everybody will go through that Jesuit, and then whoever chose to be a coon or gave their blood will be the only people that they could be like, this is part of those people. Now, they could persuade it using DNA being real, but still persuade it with lies and create names and terminologies and saying people from a Bourbon Street Bridge. So you could say, hey, I'm just governor tribe that they are calling a native name, not knowing that's just some Jesuit saying everybody that was named a tribe, if it's a New York City block, that was a different name. So you would be like, if you understood and you was the actual native, you would be like, that tribe, aka block name, wasn't even family with that other block. That's just was all of us coming together up under something for a government. You see what I'm saying? You got so let's say you'll get into a school right now. You had a blood of the Jesuit or someone with like 15% native or whatever, or someone that just now that's more native but part of the reservation. So they into the hospital system. So they get that blood, right? And then just say you're part of this, whatever the Jesuit got in control, and your blood don't even go back to any of those tribes that was a part of it, or probably one or two of them, and you ain't even specifically a part of that. It's just you got the blood of those people, and that's where it's stopping the white person's brain. And they did it for so long, they just start generalizing us with everybody else. See what I'm saying? So anytime you hear, because we ain't keep up with that shit on our own, because we ain't getting funded like the way they created a business system that we didn't even know what to do, like. And then they didn't even accept it. They cripple our versions every time we even try and take it over. That's how you get the new punk ass Cherokee language that what the Cherokees be using, whatever. Catawbas never accepted that shit. Okay. So anytime you hear something about a Bourbon Street Bridge, that's a psyop. And if you teach that and you ain't native, stop that, because you're learning that from right now. And if you hear about the Ice Age ain't talk about centuries ago. That's them trying to change our history. Listen to a native. We come out the water. They're trying to say that's a sarcasm because they don't know where they come from. So they self-project and try to say everybody else don't know where they come from. The Ice Age, we had 3 Ice Ages. This means it was 3 years, not no centuries apart. 1 year when they came to the East Coast, they destroyed all of our ability to harvest at fall time and take the bison and our way of getting securing ourselves and burning down our villages so we won't survive during the winter time, aka bend the will the knee to their government, and maybe we can get on our land and be warm that they just took our fort and stuff like that, right? So the natives who didn't do that will go mix with other natives and resist and still survive. So they had to do it another time, moving up more westward. And as they move all of us from Dakota, Sioux, Dakota, they moved us to the West Coast, Midwest, mixed us in with that became Nakota, then moved us more westward after the third one, and that turned into Lakota. And those become the 3 language band family of the Sioux band and stuff like that, aka highly resistant Native Americans that you won't know none of the history of. So that's the Catawba Siouan tribe that we Algonquian too. It's just we didn't mix with none of the foreigners to make a new pagan language. You get it? Like the Choctaw did and the Chickasaw did. Oh, that's pagan. So that's the 3 Ice Ages. Bourbon Street Bridge. There's no such thing as that would even be able to exist like that. And it was a bunch of trade routes that they burnt down that ain't had nothing to do with that. So for the most part, we didn't travel. There's more than 3 phenotypes. First of all, they get y'all lost in that concept. So you only start from white man template, Mongoloid, Negroid, you're right, and white boy ain't none of them. And then a lot of the Arabs and Negro tribes in Africa ain't none of them. You know what I'm saying? It's like thousands of that's just like saying canines. And then it's just like saying canines only got 3 phenotypes. How? We got rock rollers, Doberman pinschers, German shepherds, pit bulls. You know what I'm saying? Like how? Like that, I just named 4 right there. Poodles 5. How the fuck y'all stopping humans with 3? Like see, that's you need to know. Anytime white man involved is replacing history. They're doing that with Africa, with some out of Africa theory. They're doing that with the Native Americans, aka Bourbon Street Bridge, and making us think that we're Asians. But we know DNA wise, nature wise, geographically wise, and history wise, if anything, the Europeans is Asian and Arab and things of that nature. You see what I'm saying? Duh. So it's like that gets you the starting point of saying, oh, okay, it's a remix in the history that works in the benefits of someone else. You know what I'm saying? That's like saying a Native American looked more Asian than the Native Americans that was in Peru. If we talk about genetics. You know what I'm saying? So what's making Asians so special that everybody got to come from that specific phenotype? What's making the Arab or the Negro skull so special that and we don't even see that in nature? There's thousands. I ain't gonna say millions. There's thousands of different phenotypes. You can even look in Africa, Bantu, all the other one. You can even look in India. All these different phenotypes and shit like that. Now, you need to get back into percentage scale on your damn people if you want to get lost in those type of conversations. Other than that, people are just going to be using nationalities and making up anything. You know what I'm saying? And get lost later on down the line where you get lost how we got lost. And then you'll have $5 Indians saying, hey, I'm Cherokee and my grandmother. And then not even around any real Cherokees to put the nuance on it. You know what I'm saying? Matter of fact, I'm going to go around a real Cherokee tomorrow so they can tell y'all the nuance behind that, bitch. I'm saying. So, or what specifically as you are? You part of the red, the red paint? You part of Deer Clan? Or you part of the Turtle Clan? I'm saying real shit. And then we didn't call ourselves that either. It got names to these things that make up the whole name that we call the whole the river and the land and the tribe. And then that becomes the tribe itself before we make a band and make a confederation name before we call it confederation. So it'll be like a form of amnesia. And then for the most part, then once we got colonized, all those got put in one box and called something from a Jesuit. And then whoever was the COON and still trying to play a chief at that time because they didn't want to be resistant though. So allow the Jesuit to think they're doing something. They make the Pangig language. Same way how we was doing the term Indian. And then this way you get this a native term, but it got the letter C in it, R in it, Q in it, J in it, or V in it. You know what I'm saying? At this time, we knew what we was doing. We like, all right, this is a relationship. So we'd give them a wampum belt and then make a tomahawk / peace pipe for us, right? So they use their material to make something for us. We use our material to make something for them to be like, all right, this is a shake of hands. But the way we shake hands is giving each other an object, giving each other an offering. You know what I'm saying? So we'll give them a wampum belt that got something mixed with our culture and their culture with it, and they give us something. They give us a peace pipe with a tomahawk, our culture with some of our symbols mixed with their symbols on it, which breaks down to this how we're making languages. All languages is built off idioms, if that's how you say it, idiomons, if I'm saying that the right way. All languages, even the bastardized ones. So when you understand the prefix to each term, you'll know what government establishment or group of people in charge of that language. See what I'm saying? So this is how you'll know here what language is native, somewhere else, what language is something else, but all language is put together that way. Spanish, you know what I'm saying? All that shit. So here's the thing. When we started talking about during this time, Kuskusky, right? Or Kukushi or Kukusita. That's what it's actually called because that's the C and the ta represents the earth mass, and the Kukusi represents the water that the land is on. So it's like the land that moves on water, Kukusita, right? So that was a little. We had like a whole bunch of towns, right? A whole bunch of towns that could fill up from West Pennsylvania all the way to West Ohio. You know what I'm saying? Now, here's the thing. So, and then the main central that lead into Kahuka, but at that time we were beginning to invade it and all kind of shit. So this is times that we're just trying to get along with settlers. So as they took our forts, we're rebuilding other forts and stuff like that. They didn't got a whole bunch of the Susquehanna out the way. They kind of like got extinct after a while. Had to blend in with a whole bunch of the Huron and the Way tribe, right? And then the Way tribe had to blend in with a lot of the Shawnee and a lot of the Miami and shit like that, due to the fact of a lot of the wars that was going on at that time, that they were splitting us up. And other chiefs, sachems, was chief. That's another thing. A Jesuit changed what we called ourselves, like sachems, Massasoits, and we came up with a word called chief. So they can understand what a Massasoit is, a Mamanatoit, and we can understand what they are, being in some type of general with that letter R, royal, and then we made a word together, chief. You see what I'm saying? So that's where that come from too. So a lot of times where you get this heavy plagiarizing of chief and naming this person was named after an animal, white people is in charge of that type of history concept. The word ain't even, a lot of times it be pointing to the water, land mass, or it points to the animal, but it represent the action we doing. Not for English man to take it and be like, oh, he called himself Little Bird. You might have called yourself Awandahishiha. Iwandahishiha. Something that floats or flaps like it has wings. So it might not ever have anything to do with a specific bird. But if you're trying to help that with a settler, right? The settler would be like, oh, the pigeon, little pigeon man. You know what I'm saying? Then you would get into history, right? And then if you a float out native that you just getting birdies and stars floating off your head, and it's bad. Even if you're an elder, you might be like, yeah, we call this Turtle Island, and I'm Chief Big Turtle, and that's white boy laughing at you. You know what I'm saying? Because that's where they get the little psyop on Turtle Island at too. That a lot of COON natives that don't know themselves, that's mixed with a lot of white people that's in charge. No, we was calling the land and certain East Coast tribe the ground, walking on the turtle's back. White man said and used the word island. This is what they was calling islands. We ain't even call things island. Island got the terms in there that they be creating the shit. We ain't call things. It would have been eland because we use I is for he sound. So for the most part, they came up with, they called it Turtle Island, being in that same concept of having more control over history, but having an idea what we might have been pointing to. So you would think we actually called it Turtle Island in English. No. You know what I'm saying? You get it? So this people get, so you might have had a turtle tribe that they may have dealt with. That was a small band and the Mohawks. And they may have called themselves the Turtle Tribe. But all of those tribes may have had like stories of saying we walking on a turtle back. So when you get it in history, you're getting it through the white man mind, and the white man saying, oh, they called it Turtle Island. You know what I'm saying? But we ain't even got no word for island. So you see what I'm saying? So you got to understand that. And then turtle ain't our word either. That's the royal, whatever created that word. They created that word. An Australian person created that word. We didn't create that word for that animal. You know what I'm saying? Words we created for animals is shit like opossum, raccoon. You know what I'm saying? We created those words that the white man never stopped using and stuff like that. So we use shit like that. But at the same time, so that's what y'all gotta understand. Wolf, that's another one. We came up, moose, that's another one. Skunk, that's another one. We came up with those terms that white man just never stopped using. Well, really 90% of this, that's why I said, I don't understand why on Google it's saying English is not a pen-getting language. Because it's the king's language now, but it's the king language how they claimed it. And just put a lot of Q's, C's, replace RK with C's, RK with C's, replace R with V's, replace RG with J's, replace so that's how we got God, and they got this Jehovah version. You know what I'm saying, with our Jehovah. Replaced our Y with R. You know what I'm saying? And then that's when you get this and then so I said V, I said J, R, C, and Q. You know what I'm saying? They replace we got cha. So cha they replaced with C that would have been a K, and a K, they replaced with Q, that would have been RC. You know what I'm saying? So, because we got the pata kacha ha ha mata ha la ha ba ha da ha ha. So, for the most part, I ain't mean to say ha 2 times. I'm going to say la after that. Ha, ka, pata kacha ha pa ha la ha ba da ha ka ba ha la ha. La. You know what I'm saying? Da. Da. I keep leaving ones out. But for the most part, sa. I keep leaving ones out and stuff like that. But for the most part, that is our alphabet. Then the directions of it will be hey, ha, ho, hu, he. That represents the 5-point of being. So when you use one of these sounds and then you push it in a direction, when you make the vowel hey, ha, ho, hu, he, you put the ta that has its own meaning, and it can be te, ta, to, tu, ti. So you pushed it in those 5 different directions. The energy of ta itself, pa to self, ka to, you see what I'm saying? Then you start to build on it and you construct, and this is how we're naming things because it's closer to the internal world. So now, for when we let me get to the point. So Kuskusky, right? Kuskusky ta. Now this was the cities before it got burnt down. Now we was making a lot of deals at this time with the French because we was making interactions with the French first, and we've been doing deals based upon how we've been going through fights and how Britain and certain Haudenosaunee tribes started to become COONs and separated from the Haudenosaunee and became in cahoots with Britain and became the Iroquois. So there was a lot of battles going on with them and the Ottawas and stuff like that. So us knowing that was going on in the middle of deaths and stuff like that, here's where we had to develop northeast / northwest LENAPE Confederation. So LENAPE just means so yeah means something that's us down. Le is mean something that come from the hidden, that or spoken word, or then na means in resistant to something else. Then be, right? That means something that's hard or in between. So this is the people that's separate from what's in between. So that could be the river or some type of establishment that separates us. So what makes us different people now. So now it ain't Algonquin, you speak Iroquois. So we're set. So we're going to create the Lenape Confederation. The people that's separate, the people that's separate from you. You know what I'm saying? So those are going to be all the same bands that come together that's in resistance to create Lenape, and all the same bands that's assimilating become Iroquois. But this been happening on the East Coast. When we talk about where I'm at right now, Kuskusky, this is already a thing that's going on for a good couple of decades or whatever. It's just we already settled here, and it ain't a lot of that going on yet, but it's getting ready to. So here's where you get the fort. You get Fort. Goddammit. Yeah, I'm gonna bastardize y'all motherfucking names and shit like that. Fort. Goddammit. Get that. Whatever the fuck that fort is. Hold on. Let me see. Fort, yeah, I call it Fort Decanese, but Fort Denan, Fort Duquesne, yeah, Fort Duquesne, Fort Decanese, bitch. I said earlier, Fort Decanese. That. So we helped the French set up a fort called Fort Decanese and shit like that. So we was exchanging furs and shit. And we was giving them weapons. I mean, they was giving us weapons. So they were helping us establish ourselves. So here go white man, Britain man, and England man, and Spangler man start creating psyops on the Haudenosaunee that made a lot of them Iroquois. So we was main players selling. We was making the most money, whatever these Theon notes we had at the time, and we was getting strong. And shit like that, having weapons and shit. So every now and then we kicking ass, little scrimmages and shit like that. They got us running a scrimmage, invading by England, making a scrimmage. You know what I'm saying? But for the most part, boom, once they start getting their ass kicked, the Iroquois start like talking and stuff like that and start saying like, yeah, we get like this little route, like, you know what I'm saying? It really was white man confusing them though, because at this time everybody trying to like have an understanding, but really at the end is trying to protect their lands. So a lot of times the Iroquois was thinking this was the best decision to make, which became the COON energy. But they was thinking, because whatever England and Britain is telling them and giving them good deals and stuff like that, is making them feel like, well, this is our lands anyway. and we're able to live amongst these people. So by them being stronger, whatever resistant tribe or whatever the case, they're trying to, this is how they're trying to make it make sense. Whatever resistant tribe is going to be more threatening, and none of us going to have anything. So we're going to make sure we control everything, and this is our lands anyway, so we don't give a fuck about this. So Iroquois was even having England and Spanglers and Britain and French confused with each other a lot of times, in the Dutch, until they got more crafty and came up with like a way of coming together better by copying the Iroquois. You know what I'm saying? They was copying the Iroquois ways of going about things a lot of times. You know what I'm saying? Because at this time, before it's looked at as a coon, it's looked at who's making the best decisions. And for us to stop having to fight so much amongst all of us. You know what I'm saying? And all different people coming over here. So that was their best decision. Hey, we're doing this. And so they think that they can become the uncles of more of this area after they done moved a lot of us more western, or mixed a lot of the eastern tribes over here to make the Lenape tribe bigger, mix with a lot of the people over there to blend in with a bunch of the Shawnees and shit like that. And then them having to be in that type of conversation and shit like that, and be like, all right, we got to rise up because they can't keep this fucking shit up. Then we got these cats thinking that these Washishu care about them. How you think they losing their land still? What the fuck? Pardon me. So here's the thing. That's when they came and invaded. They invaded Kuskusky, right? And then burnt down the village with the Scorched Earth program. So Britain and the Iroquois, with a little bit of England cats that was willing to fight, and Spangler cats that was willing to fight. And I think at this time they had freedmans and stuff like that, and came and burnt our shit up. Mainly Iroquois though, gave them directions and shit like that. They knew the routes better and shit. At this time, everybody kind of knew the routes though. Not as deep as the Iroquois and the Britain and stuff like that. But you know, people had their wherewithals. Came and burnt the shit down. Right? Then French gonna motherfucker get scared and shit like that. These guys gonna get scared because we always showing some type of courage that white boys gotta sit back and be like, man, that's some type of courage type shit. I ain't trying to die from something like that. Even though the way they be dying dumb as hell. Shoot right in front of each other and just click, click, click without no guerrilla warfare type shit. And like it'll take you about 3 minutes to load a gun if you stupid. After one shot. So at them times it was like retardation. They was learning a lot of shit from us. You know what I'm saying? Now French gonna get scared. These cats gonna burn down French ducking knees themselves and shit, and you get out the area. These cats got scared of Iroquois in Britain. Cats got scared and shit like that. So we ain't got no help now. But here's the thing. At these times, we also don't got nowhere to go. We ain't no foreigners. Yet we not thinking like that either. Like we thinking like, well, shit, we just gonna fight, and if we get moved over, no, we always trying to move over where we getting moved from, because we rather die on our lands type shit. So it's like they moving us westward. We're fighting to come back. And then by the time we all get back, we're downsized a few 100,000 and shit like that. It's probably only 200,000 of us left. So that's how it was. It was like 4 million westward. Oh, fight, resist. Come back. We back. Probably about there's only 200,000 of us left. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what it was like. You know what I'm saying? East Coast, West Coast limbo system. You know what I'm saying? So we ain't even got nowhere else to go. So once again, we in the way. French no longer helping us. We don't deal with land rights. The white boys, which include all of them, Europeans, French, and all of them, right? They had some in-house fight, so they ain't even gonna kill French as much. But by French losing and us helping, and we being part of losing, here's the thing: French already knew what's going down. They burnt it and got the fuck up out of there. They already knew what they buddies is about. But they got some property thing going on. So through all of their mind, it's okay, French don't run this land no more. Okay, I run it as British now, and now import, export. Come on, pilgrims. You know what I'm saying? Come on, praying Christian pilgrims. Come on, Spanglers and shit like that and things of that. And then boom, and we could do something with the 3.5 human beings we bringing with us right here. This Arab, this African, this Asian person, make them do something. You know what I'm saying? Right? Because this in their mind, though. You know what I'm saying? When they was around y'all, they probably made y'all feel like something else. They probably told all the men you could have 72 wives or something until you actually did it and you ain't get what you signed for. Then you just end up being in debt and still living up under the same situation. And still, as soon as you start complaining, we got today how slavery start coming up to be and shit. Like, oh, I don't give a fuck. Hey, these cats don't give a fuck. Oh, shit. I'm just speaking of the early times, though. You know what I'm saying? Early times, goddamn, we having a big old family party right now. You know what I'm saying? Now, now here's the thing, right? Now we ain't got no help, but we also ain't looking at property tax like that. So the Briticana white man feel like it's their right to just go ahead and try to move us out too after you already destroyed our village. And then we ain't got no help from the French because these cats done ran and shit like that. So here come the Iroquois. Well, it's mine's now, then. You know what I'm saying? This shit, and I don't even care about the family you got with us and shit like that. It's just like, oh, this ours. So here's where they destroyed it, and then now you get the split where they made deals with Britain. And this is what before it was called COONs. The Iroquois thinking they're doing the right thing. British is paying them. You know what I'm saying? Paying them too. It's like a little military connection these cats got. Britain and little England. And, you know what I'm saying? So they paying them. So in their mind, they like, well, we can run that area better. So a SACHEM from that, one of the head generals from the Iroquois, that's the head middleman with Britain and them, that Britain and England made them believe they're gonna be able to keep that or whatever the case may be. That's when he named Kuskusky, Ohio. Thank you so much for the cash app, Car Scott. I appreciate that from the bottom of my heart. So this is how even Kuskusky and Mënehokink, right, was still named by all of us as Algonquian and shit like that. But at the same time, once they made the little pig-gang language, this how Greek and everything, Hebrew getting created. I'm just taking y'all to the nuances so you don't get lost. The Iroquois language, bitch, is still Iroquois. I mean, Algonquian is just the ones who start creating a lot of words that they could communicate with foreigners now and blend their shit in same way, vice versa. So you get the term Iroquois, the heroes. They looked at themselves like heroes, heroes, and they go Hirakashi. They kill for whatever and shit like that, and kill themselves. Suicide missions. That's how the white man looked at them. Like, these guys do suicide missions and shit. These guys don't be giving a fuck. So the Iroquois was a main gem for the white man at that time. You know what I'm saying? Because they knew the land better, and that warrior Indian spirit, like the meanings and reasonings that we come up with of what we willing to fight and die for. They're foreigners. They don't even start from that starting point. So even if a native is getting rocked to sleep, it's stuff that they do in their regular life. They ain't even got nothing to do with the white man. It's already that kind of thing. So they look at it like, oh shit, yeah, we need that kind of shit. Because that's what the people who run us right now don't be understanding. They think they got us in witchcraft. No, it's just everybody, all ethnicities and stuff. We're too busy thinking about real life and what we got to deal with. That take too much of our mind. So we rather just relate more than shit that we can't touch. But if everybody focus was right next to whoever think they're playing witchcraft, whoever, that a person main focus would be on telling you you're retarded. You ain't. For an example, they might say we're playing God because we got a spell up under everybody to be in debt. No, we all know what y'all doing to be in debt. We're just doing things in regular life. And then these things are just us being relatable. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we just doing more things in regular life. We understand these things. We're just so much in regular life, we ain't even building up things to fight that back. That's not what you see what I'm saying? We're not even in that concept. But people be in a comfort zone and develop dumb ideas about shit and go overboard. That don't make no sense. And then that's where you have to tell a person they're retarded every now and then. You know what I'm saying? But if a person wasn't up under no necessities, blended in with them being in real life first, and then just saying what the necessities is the conveniences, whatever, you know what I'm saying, a job, whatever. A person's main focus will be on whoever doing the witchcraft who can't do it for real without all those layers. And then the person who's doing it will realize you're not doing witchcraft. You're just doing manipulation, and you're doing it from a safe place. So that come from the seed of your forefathers of that's why y'all created guns. That's why I created property and when getting people out of the place that was already there so you can feel safe. It don't come from a witchcraft concept. That even come from what you think other people was doing that actually was that. And then thinking, creating so many psyops of synthetic versions of it, being later in today's time, having a fake belief that what you're doing is actually that. No, it's just taking a Buffalo bill and making dollar bills. It is not you making dollar bills and make people want money and you doing magic. No, you never doing magic. You see what I'm saying? Like, you got to make it make sense a lot of times, like that tethering cord. But for the most part, here's the thing, right? When it comes into at that time, that's when they came. The Seneca, with a chief from the Seneca that was a troll from the Haudenosaunee. I mean the COON. So they was part of the Iroquois, part of the Seneca, and they allowed the one who had family, part of the tribal bands of the East-West Territory over here, the East-West of the North Territory in Ohio and Pennsylvania before it's called that. that they allowed him to name it. Well, he named it. You know what I'm saying? Because he felt like he had more authority or whatever the case may be. So, and more family anyway. And we had to accept it. So you know what I'm saying. So we looked at it like the best decision. So that's how the Iroquois became the uncle or the Shawnee uncle and or the other areas of the Erie uncle, and got rid of the Erie and the Susquehanna and shit like that. But it ain't get rid of them. They just had to blend in with the Haudenosaunee and the Iroquois and blend it in with the rest of us and the Lenape, right? So for the most part, here's the thing. That's the Confederation. Now, once they came and once they did that, they lost them rights too, and things of that nature. So you need to keep that in mind. They lost them rights, then they started getting down to Little Turtle and all these cats just having a bunch of frivolous fights and shit like that. So can't nobody fight no more. And it's motherfucking shit. To Kunse, you know what I'm saying? That's when I come into play and shit like that. And this is where it's like this already being treated like animals, but it's still a lot of us here already. So it was a normal thing at that time to join group confederacies, aka where you could create a band but have some type of connection and establishment with Britain. You know what I'm saying? Because at this time, once I come into play, Britain have got French the fuck up out this area. So they got French the fuck up out of here, made it safe for England and Spanglers, separated Kuskusky, and then kept the name that the Seneca, because the Seneca is still involved in Iroquois. So they changed the name to Ohio. Then the part that the England and Spanglers was flooding and Britain, they named that Pennsylvania. You know what I'm saying? So now it's no longer so. And then they buried the city, the mounds, and stuff like that. Start making different type of roads, different type of structures that both of them to connect with. The train routes started to come in. They bring in more Africans and Asians to work on the railroads, so they could find faster routes to the Great Plains and the Great Basins and stuff like that. So now this is starting to go on, right? So a lot of us was helping a lot of the runaways from who's helping build the railroads and shit like that at this time, right? So also, and developing resistance, but in a way that it being a normal thing to join an establishment with Britain. But then now, the England and Spanglers, aka Pilgrims, right? The England Pilgrims, right? That's just the Jesuits and the Masons today, Europeans today. They started to get feisty, right? Because Britain is like police. They fund everybody. So when they got the French to fuck up out of here, allowed the Iroquois to control the territory, they started to do psyops to get rid of so that the Iroquois don't have much power, right? So then that's when they started to bring in this other type of concept, right? When it's like taking somebody else's land, but then figuring out a way where you have fought more. So since you fought too, and since you had kids there too, you could claim native too. But if you on the side of the people who creating paperwork more and government more, here's how you can start working out the way of the people who was already native there, not having no control over what's going to be done there and what's going to be built there or being in on it and stuff like that, right? So here's where you get this this little concept where Britain took it over from the Iroquois and then made them blend in with everybody else. I had another point too. Now I didn't want to stretch out to there. Hold on, I had another point. Let me not lose my other point. No, before that. Because that's going to tie to where I'm getting ready to before I go there. No. Okay, yeah. All right, so at this time now, right? They moved them in and then called that side Pennsylvania, right? And called it whatever Pennsylvania. So once they started to create that establishment, or however the case may be, then once they blend in all the tribes, then they created this putting everybody in one box energy, like Call of Duty, right? This becomes a Call of Duty thing. Now, here's the thing. You're going to get a whole bunch of Spain and England, or whatever the case may be, flooding here, and then later on down the line, having some type of psyop where they could claim the rights, claim the obligations, and then the native can't do nothing with the land unless they trying to fight. You know what I'm saying? This is where that concept come from. So it's like civilize or fight. Like civilize or fight type shit. And then once they start to control that whole thing, we start to see what they was doing with it. All they did was take the little oil, the little trade route, and then eventually they start blocking those up also. So once they sold the whole thing up, you got Britain, England, and then oh yeah, that was my point. This is my point, right? So you get Spain and England, right, not wanting even natives to be around and shit like that, and wanting to conduct the land for themselves while copying the native culture or however the case may be. So here's where you get the buildup also of a separation from Britain. But let's look at it like this, right? If Britain just funded everything that you did, but you their little brothers, this way of fighting at this time ain't this small group of pilgrims and Spain and stuff like that going against Britain. It's creating a situation like we can do this on our own from all the resources on the land. But you got to get out the way, because what you have created is still allowing Native Americans to be here, right? And we know that this their land, but we want our own thing going without you involved based on the resources. But the Native Americans is still here. So this is where Britain start turning their back on the Native Americans that they actually was helping after they got the French out the way. You know what I'm saying? So after we were blending in with British and their establishment with the Iroquois and having to do deals with them and going against stuff, this all the way to my time to COON say going against Little Turtle, like, man, that ain't the way. They gonna still fuck us over, or however the case may be, right? In the middle of this, we have all the people that Britain brought after they cleared us out, but we still here to blend in with the Iroquois that they left in charge to call it Ohio and separate their part that they supposed to stay at, not move more and more westward, and they call that part Pennsylvania with the V in it, right? Here's where you get England that moved there not being satisfied, being greedy, or whatever the case may be. So now, since they're Britain's little brother, Britain stopped helping the natives even when it's time that they create this fake fight. So we think we'll be fighting against England and Spain by Britain still having our back or being a peace treaty, and they're like enticing shit in a way where it's Britain too. So we think we'll be getting helped by Britain, and Britain is on their side destroying us. You see what I'm saying? It's like it was a weird psyop, but they had to do it because it was like peace treaties going on to make it seem like doing anything otherwise is unmoral. So they had to come up with a manipulating way to make us do something that we did before to make it seem like it's justified. You know what I'm saying? To renege on something. So this means there's a lot of England and pilgrims complaining a lot about wanting their own place in our area that we at. So that's what started to have that done. And then once they started to do that more and more and more, this is how the Ohio area became their 13th council, their 13th fire. Because they've been creating their 13 from the Carolinas, the Virginia, the East Coast, the Manhattan, and stuff like that. So it became the 13th one in Ohio because they crossed the Pennsylvania line and destroyed the Iroquois who had the Ohio line, and they wouldn't even had called it Ohio and had that if they wasn't coons to burn down it being Kuskusky that we named it, because we was doing a lot of dealings with the French. So they kicked us and the French ass. French got scared because they already know what they big brothers was going to get ready to do after already getting our ass kicked. So they left us vacant. We ain't had nowhere else to go. They got some property thing going that they arguing about that we don't even know, we don't deal with. And then, so we don't even know in their mind, it ain't our land. And in our mind, we don't even know what y'all doing. So then that becomes a fight, and then blowing up, and then learning Britain ain't even on our side, right? And then, for the most part, that's when the Iroquois had to blend in. Then the settlers keep getting mad that they want this land to themselves, and then do psyops to move the natives out completely. So this becomes the 13 colony area, and then for the most part, then that's when now we here. in this motherfucking shit, where it just becomes a whole bunch of slaughtering and killing just to move Native Americans out, and then you get them establishing their government and then starting to build their industries here, and whatever Native Americans lingering around, I want to be a symbol and be 1/4 of a goddamn human, but at least you got records. You know what I'm saying? They keep you in it on the only thing that they funded. And so this give you the idea of you. They make you think they defeated Britain. No, Britain is just doing business deals. Britain don't even care about that. Britain took over whole Canada and all the Huron Native Americans up there and shit like that. And Britain could have been took over them if they wanted to. They're just funding everything. You know what I'm saying? Because they all the same people. So it's like a trickle system or shit like that. So Britain make things safe with militia for the Pilgrims to come move in and then take everybody's shit and start claiming it. Now then later on down the line, they burnt down all the villages, more villages and shit like that, and now y'all get this little city and state or whatever kind of little concept splitting, aka Magic Square. You know what I'm saying? So it's a Magic Square now. So what we call the village and the cities and stuff like that is along the river lines. They'll buy property and separate it and put streets and freeways, right? And then you'll be thinking one large mass area we was calling something is 2 different cities and 2 different states or 2 different areas, or a suburb between the lines of a suburb and an urban area. It don't be having nothing to do with that in this motherfucking shit. But yeah, let me go ahead and get the rest of these audio books out too and shit like that. And I picked them out too, so we could build this up because I know everybody doesn't want to jump or whatever like that. So I'm gonna do another open panel too. But so I say I'm gonna make a date. I'm gonna make a date too, so that'll probably be like a couple days or a week or something in advance. We're gonna start that now because I think I picked a mile, so it have area and stuff like that. So it ain't just like that's the only area or whatever the case may be, which I'm gonna do anyway. I'm just saying if anybody else will have the case, because I already got even collection of people area and stuff like that that does these type of things. These ain't new type of things that I'm talking about. I'm saying there's more people beyond me that don't even know me. That's part of stuff that do the same type of shit and shit like that. So I'll just give y'all the syntax or whatever the case may be, and then it motivate everybody around the world to do that, and then start creating circumstance. And then I want to actually rebuild Kuskusky, because a lot of time it's a lot of spots that you can just build. You know what I'm saying? Like, so if I start getting some type of weird property type thing or whatever the case may be, I'm screaming human rights, because it's a lot of land that it don't even start getting moved around unless some money get put in it or something like that. And then the moment somebody start doing it, that's when you got to start doing deals with whoever claim they own the property. But if you was to sue somebody, you can't never find what person actually owns something. But the moment you try to own it, here go a person right indirect, and you need this banking and all. It's like bullshit. Like that shit got to be like changed a little bit. Because if I go ahead and spot a whole little village line, and if let's say I already got people, construction workers or whatever the case may be, and they just doing it out of the kindness of their heart or whatever, and make a whole like 4-5 long houses that look like real houses now and stuff like that or whatever the case may be. Like what kind of God or circumstance or whatever like that like was supposed to stop that? Like why would that be stopped? Like I don't get it. You know what I'm saying? Like I gotta question these things and stuff like that, because I know that type of stuff does happen, but I don't understand. You know what I'm saying? Real shit. It shouldn't be nothing that, or we're going to have to start questioning who created a little container house business, because that ain't nothing but some white boy doing the same thing and somehow got some nepotism to allow them to do it. Nah, we got to stop all that, or we ain't no one nation then. Now, I'm not saying everybody do that. I'm saying intelligent people, or people who could just go ahead and do that, and you intelligent or something like that. I think that's the right, especially if you native. I should be getting help to do that. These cats be trying to destroy me, but I'm not in the world that they in to be destroyed. So it just shows them that they going to hell or whatever like that case. You know what I'm saying? For an example, the stuff they may see that they think is right is the things that actually how they're going to hell, and what gives me the advantage to keep them there. For an example, like every time they play with my numbers. For an example, I could screenshot right after this. It's always like 12 to 1,300 people watching. But I don't care to screenshot that and put that up, because I know what they doing. But I don't even care about what they think is justified why they doing. They be playing with other people's egos like that. They be like, yeah, we could get this kind of energy out of a person and we make the views like this. We can make this energy out of a person. And all that is stupid to me. So a lot of things that they think they have power in is the things I don't be trying to give focus to let them know that this is not what motivate me to do what I'm doing for you to even pluck from any holy fruit from me in the first place. So I will always have the upper hand, and you can't motivate me to do anything that you created, which is one going against another person, this, that, and the third. When a person don't know no better, you can't make no even voodoo doll out of a mental template that you may constructed out of what you think may be my astrology. That's just an expression. It ain't how I'm gonna do it. So you can know the what all day, yeah, Aries, or you don't know how I'm gonna do it. So if I'm more of the spiritual sensei, I'm more in the authority position from I'm not in as many layers as you are to be motivated to do as many stupid things in the wrong direction as you are. So I'm always able to see who you are if you're in that position. So every time they play with my numbers, that means more than whatever they think they doing means something more. You going to hell. Every time you do a psyop, you going to hell. Every time you use my template. And here's the thing, y'all don't even be knowing what y'all dealing with when it comes to like y'all be fucking around with Native Indian spirits every time y'all be plagiarizing words and be trying to confuse people's history on different people's channels and stuff like that. Y'all think I don't be seeing a lot of that shit. I be seeing it. I don't like to pay attention to it a lot because it's like it kill brain cells. But once I hear 2 or 3 words, 3 seconds, that's all I need. I can go to that world myself and see what's actually going on. So it's like a pocket in reality, like a person's birthday. Pardon me. That day is a snapshot that's getting ready to go through a whole bunch of different days, different mathematical positions. Okay, it's like that in the spiritual world. It's a dream that played out in reality. So I go to that area where that event took place, even if you're not doing that event currently. You might have did it last week. You might have did it yesterday. I will go to that pocket and live out that event and then leave out that portal and come back in my own portal and then know whatever template a person made from that through the experience and they made as their cloth and their expression later on down the week. Or in, because this is how in the spirit world we all connected. So you know where everybody at directional wise when you take a vision quest, or you know how to dream the right way. You know what I'm saying? Because your mind is on the right template. Because you ain't lost in English images on your mind. Like you say an English word is a thing that's still in nature, but it pop in your mind with a indoctrination. Something Walt Disney made you think about it. So you don't see the natural of it, how it's supposed to be. You see what I'm saying? So you're looking at even nature in a with GMO 3D glasses on. So you're not even looking at names in nature the way it's supposed to be looked at. Even if you're looking at it, it's like it's that deep. But for the most part, I could tell it's like that by interacting with folks, especially interacting with even people that got like white collar, blue collar jobs in business. And then, but for the most part, you're supposed to be able to see that and that layer and shit. Oh, I had another point before I cut this off. That day is yeah. So when it comes into a person doing something, let's say a person is in some type of manipulating space, that come from something. Everything come from somewhere, so everything is a reason, right? But you don't supposed to say that as you're just speaking. See, that's what English got y'all. English got y'all in some type of generalizing thing. It means something. What does it mean for something to come from somewhere? So there's a physical way, holy. There's a way outside of you, holy, holy. That if you're sensitive and you listen, you know that how your body, holy, made from the outside water, holy, holy, why you need it. Then there's an absolute way that plays beyond both shapes and forms. The way yours is playing out and the way that the water mathematical playing out. The essence of it in general. That's attached to emotion and feeling, if you, for lack of better terms. And you would get a different name of having the case. But for the most part, it's the same thing, impact, influence. And so when you know something comes from somewhere, all right, see where it comes from. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's simple. Y'all so lost in English, you don't got no comprehension of your regular language building, and then you'd probably lost from your own language. That all languages is built on that first. That's our first understanding, the internal, then naming things external. So by me still having my language though, and then still knowing English is a pig language, right? My mind see it different also already before using it. So when y'all say things like everything come from somewhere, let's put it in context. This is how I'm already seeing that term if someone is influencing me with something or impacting me with something. I'm getting ready to see where they come from. So I just don't stop with the word holy. I go into the holy aspect. Okay, what's the influence of it? And then I go to the area it's at in the happy hunting grounds, right? Before that water is made to see where it come from. So it can only be a handful of routes or thought forms that spirit could be in to build that seed and fruit to come from that area where I'm at so I can see where they coming from. You know what I'm saying? It's only, and it got to be one or the other. So wherever I'm wrong at, I'm still right because I'm so expanded as a spirit. Whatever this person is using, that's a multiplication of things. All of those come from one area. And for a spirit to put that specific mathematics together, that spirit itself lives in a particular area with a group of other soul tribes that only like to think about things that make those certain mathematical precisions when they go out and shop everywhere else to build esoteric currency, right? So I just look at it from that aspect, as within, so without, and then as above, so below. So everything is in reverse. How it's being done here is seen in reverse in the spiritual world. They're actually doing it in the spiritual world. What they think they're doing outwardly, they're doing to themselves in the spiritual world. So when I'm digging for gold, down here, I'm just expressing myself being creative. But in the spiritual world, I'm digging as a spirit inside of creating a minefield inside of my mind to find the most precious gems that was first shall be last, last shall be first. When you create a mentality, it's less dense, create more mentalities and become heavier dense, masculine to feminine, and then it could crush in to be air and earth, and then you're doing it as in that area in the happy hunting grounds, going into your center and finding the thing that went from fire, water, air, earth, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we see that from subjective to external. I'm saying objective, and that's what we dig for, or this is the concept we in when we bury our loved ones. We bury their body being a gem, yellow iron, back into the earth as it condensing from the spirit, then the atmosphere, then could create an atmosphere that condense and become fire, sun, moon, water, cloud, air, it condensing, then earth, it constructing, creating sand particle, crystals, gems, landmass, once that collect all together and stuff like that. And now you walking on a gem, on an egg cell, on an organ. The world gold. Sand, gold world. So sand is actually this dark gold. Brown is this gold sand, and it's this transition position. So it's going to be more dirt than sand on the Western Hemisphere. You know what I'm saying? But then we still gonna have sand and dirt pockets in all hemispheres because things microlize up and sizes up. See what I'm saying? So for the most part, that's something you want. That's letting you know words come from the internal first. So once you just see it's the vibe first, then it's externalized, and the internal vibe. I got an audio book based on this. It's about the Masawatumi. You know what I'm saying? So just represent the astronomy, astrology, gematria, and numerology, but how to conduct it so it become a tool, not something, oh, how can I manifest 1,000 million? But the tool would allow you to come up with the idea to be able to manifest. Manifest is just developing an idea. Materializing is what y'all be calling manifesting. That's why a lot of times y'all don't manifest, because you're trying to materialize, gain something physically or an attraction. And manifesting is more hypersensitive. It's a mental template, so it's more on the basis of an ability. So that you got to have a thought pattern that you can utilize, that becomes what we're calling creativity. You know what I'm saying? Or what we call talent. Then once you start to express that ability, that's the manifestation. You got something from God. Then when you start to express it, then you start to materialize from it. But the materializing process is what y'all actually be calling manifesting, and that's why you never get shit and shit like that. Because the materializing is the air and earth process. The manifesting is the fire and water process. The internal yin and yang. Yang fire, internal, your vision, and internal yin, your water, your motivation, the multiple visions coming together, and it becomes the world that you inside of as a spiritual soul. So it becomes an internal mind, chakra, internal flame, evaporation, condense cycle. Then in the middle of that, it creates the lesser version of that, air and earth, aka lesser version of evaporation and condensing. The middle of it, transition, transform, air, the thin of water, all the stuff in it, each particle, and then it collapsing, imploding, collapsing, expanding, and it becoming land masses and stuff like that. AKA, this is something you confirmed up inside of your mind first. You know what I'm saying? You just, and then that start to externalize it, and then now it become something you can use externally, like with your organs, air, breathing, earth, body, on the wind you're in, atmosphere, and the earth you in, to start to materialize from the things that's grown in it, from how we create that seed for it to germinate from the inside out. The internal yin and yang, water and fire. So the external yin and yang, yang is air, and the yin is earth. You know what I'm saying? Masculine and feminine. When we start to externalize it, first we have to make up the atmosphere cycle. Hot, cold, aka atmosphere condensing and become fire, that condense become water, cloud, sun, moon, cloud. You know what I'm saying? Fire, water. Then from the inside, you externalize that. Now it become the lighter versions of it to do it on a micro scale. The small winds of air, and then condensing and become things you could feel. So you can still feel air. That's an earth element. So that's a collection of things that's less dense coming together to become heavier dense. And this is the lighter stage of it. Even if you can't see it, you still could be impacted by it. So you created forms of mass, velocity, and volume. You create volume, mass, velocity, and you can't even see it. So that's the Holy Ghost. The Holy Ghost represents the Holy Spirit. Something that's unseen that can be seen, even if it's not seen. Something that can be felt, even if it's not felt, but it's still there. So we're understanding from where the spirit, no thing, creating something. An awareness that condense, that's a mind, and that condense and become fleshly fluid, adrenaline and organ, and that's us creating from the inside out. And the less dense is what we're calling as above, and the heavier dense, when it collapsed from the air to the earth, is what we're calling as below. But it's really just as expansion, contraction, distance, closeness, brightness, dimness. You know what I'm saying? And pretty much it, bitch. You know what I'm saying? Real shit. And masculine, feminine, external, internal. Yang, yin. You're out your mind. You too much in your feelings. I'll say however you want to put it, bitch. And I'm gonna see a lot of y'all in person. Let me go ahead and get this together. And I gotta send the rest of these audio books off. It take about 5-10 minutes for it to load all up. So a lot of y'all that's waiting, that's what it's doing right now. They all loading. But I love all y'all from the bottom of my heart. Flight boss, bitch, you know, for sure. You're now listening to the Mind of an Interior's Moon. I'm the Royal Archangel Uriel. And I'm here to carry out God duties and motherfucking responsibilities. And let's remake these, goddamn it, which we ain't remaking. We still the same thing, especially if you're dealing with me. Replenish, goddamn it, the American soil. You know what I'm saying? Real shit. Abya. And then goddamn it, Yala. Abya, Yala. You know what I'm saying? That's the soil. New Worldiah, Abya, Yala. And then for the most part, make all these tribes again. And every woman is the birth of a new nation tribe. And all the men is the seed. I'm the only man right now. So I'll tell you that right now. I said real shit. I love all y'all from the bottom of my heart. Real shit.